was actually born of a joke.
It's all right. You could tell him.
Jonah had a woman who was, well, he was dating a woman who was rather large.
Yeah.
And didn't like
She's
like
a perfectly
exercise.
lovely person. She's a very nice person.
And we were joking one day that the only way
to get her off her ass was to scare the shit out of her and chase her.
We all went to high school together, but we didn't really know each other.
When he was in high school, he was a super stud.
Yeah.
Maybe we had some classes. I think I did an English class with Jonah once.
But didn't really know them until we were all working together. Cheesy's Pizzeria.
I worked the register a lot.
Yeah.
I cooked pizzas.
Yeah. I kind of ran the orders back and forth. Yeah, we were all just hanging out. And that's where the idea came from, was the fact that we're buddies and
camaraderie.
we're just hanging out, and this is what we like to do together.
When you think of all the great chases that have actually happened in history, or those we watch on movies, everyone's focus is on the chase itself. You know, no one really thinks of all those people getting a fantastic workout. Chase Me is a service provided to people who need to be fit, who aren't fit, and traditional means have failed them. We use non-traditional motivational methods to get people to work out and lose weight.
We scare people, too. Well, more than scaring.
You scare the fucking shit out of them.
Yeah.
Paul is an amazing runner. I fucking can run for days.
Physically, I'm in probably some of the best shape that I've ever been in my life. I mean, barring injury, I think we can continue at this pace for quite a while.
Sometimes he runs for half an hour. Three times a day.
Yeah, 3 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
So it really hasn't changed since high school.
Not really. I mean, that's key. It's really what I would do normally, but in a costume. For money.
For money, yeah, that's the major thing right there. I've been an artist ever since I can remember. Painting, drawing, playing music, sculptures. It's just what I do. Paul comes back from the client's initial interview, and we start brainstorming the best scare that I can manufacture. And then I just go into the shop, do some sketching, do some molding.
I don't think I've seen anybody. I mean, granted, nobody else does what we do, but I don't think anybody could take a fear and turn it into something as artistic the way that Corey does.
I try to stay away from those normal, like the clown. Everybody's scared of a fucking clown. I want to push for the more odd or creative things to the scares and the outfits.
The website is sort of my area of expertise. I've designed a very colorful, very interactive website. You can sort of see this little animated sequence of how a chase might happen. And it has a little person getting out of their car, and they look around, and there's a look of shock on their face. And then there's Paul chasing them. They're running down the street, and this little animated sequence has them getting stronger and stronger.
I guess I thought it was a joke. At first, I didn't know it was an actual business model. I'm very proud that he started this company so that he can, springboard.
We all started this.
Yes, yeah. And I think for you, it's, I think you're really going to outgrow it. I am so proud of what he's done, and I think it's going to be a real resume, a real gem on the resume for Microsoft or
We'll see.
Expedia might be interested in some of the tracking.
Paul! So whenever the chase is over, Jonah checks on Paul's GPS and finds out his location, and he sends me a text message.
Honestly, it's a big transition moving from a solely friendship type of relationship to a coworker type of relationship. It's not all roses.
What the fuck happened?
sometimes you would say things to a coworker that you wouldn't say to a friend.
I could not see the baby through these eye holes. I had no idea that lady had a baby. I would not have run after her.
Did you have it on correctly? Did you put it on
It's
correctly?
a freaking mask, Corey. How
Yeah.
did I put it on wrong?
Well, if it's not situated on your head right.
I put the eye holes in front of my eyes. Generally, that's how you do it.
He's got some concerns here and there, different issues. This is the mask. Let me put it on real quick. See, you can see just fine out of this thing. Out of the peripherals here. See, I can see you right now. I don't know if you can see that.
But at the end of the day, we're fine. Because he knows that I'm doing it for the right reason. I'm chewing him out because I love this company and not because he's an idiot. Well, when we have our initial interview, we take a lot of time to hone in on that fear that's going to be most productive for the person. We try to strike that balance between what's going to motivate them and making sure that it's not something that's going to damage their psyche.
Or go over budget.
Right.
I'm just gonna go put this back, and maybe if you just take a seat right there, I'll be right with you.
Sounds perfect.
Thanks so much.
Very important to take in the living space. Gives you a lot of clues as to what might trigger somebody. During the interview process, I generally come right out and ask them what their fear is. Let's get right to it. What scares you, Nora?
I'm sorry?
What scares you?
Oh, It's been a long time since I've been asked that question.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I was kind of flipping through the channels,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure you've seen this movie before, and I'm sure I've seen it before, although I didn't really remember it.
Mm-hmm.
But Jaws was playing.
Ah, yes. And I generally discount what they tell me.
Do you remember that
Yeah,
kind of theme song? It was
Mm-hmm.
dun 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 dun.
People by nature are hiders. They're little squirrels. Their fears are their nuts, and they take their nuts and they go bury them. And sometimes they even forget where they bury their fears. They don't even know where to take you. If you were to ask a squirrel, show me your nuts, he wouldn't be able to. He would be able to say, my nuts are in this general area. And that's what the interview process is. It's the squirrel taking me to this general area. And my questions are like digging little holes until we find a nut that we can use. Excellent. Is that something that you feel passionate about, animal rights?
I do. I make sure to buy organic meats.
Right. I think finding somebody's fear is something you have to earn.
If you didn't buy organic meats, if you were on a non-organic farm.
I read a little bit of Jung. Read a little bit of the Swedish guy. Freud. I read some Freud. And I think I have a pretty good preliminary grasp on what it means to be a psychoanalyst, psychiatrist, psychologist type mix of things. And so I can push people's buttons pretty well.
And they watch this pig get slaughtered in half, its head cut off with an actual machete knife.
I think of myself as a fairly charming individual, and so I transfer that into the interview process. The next time you'll see us, you're not going to be expecting it, but I think you'll enjoy it.
That's right.
All right.
Well, great. Thank you so much, Paul.
Absolutely.
It was really a treat, and
Great.
thank you.
This is what I do, so I just do it. If I wasn't doing this, I don't know what I'd be doing. So I'm not worried about time. I just develop and make these scares. You know, I'm not a 9-to-5 guy, so that's not a concern of mine. So it's just, you know, wherever I gotta go, whenever I gotta go to get whatever I need, I do it.
Yeah. So this guy here is Marmalade. Good morning, baby. And then Brilliance. Here's Brilliance. Hi, Brilliant. And I hope you don't mind, but I'm just gonna make my smoothie in the morning. And I go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 and a half. You probably checked this out too on your way in, but I'll just tell you a little bit about these photos I have here. Of course, Brilliance and Marmalade. And Brilliance, this is a really interesting photograph of him. You can tell that you might think he looks a little bit sad in this photograph. And if you thought that, I would say you're right, because actually this was the day that Robert and I got divorced.
That's really when the fun is. You know, you're chasing somebody and you can see how scared they are of you. And then you can see that translate into physical action, into exercise.
All the chases we've done so far seem successful, and we're getting a lot of return clients.
It's close to a 0% probability that anything would go horrifically wrong with our company.
I consider myself unemployable, so I don't want to have to go find a job, a real job.
I get a lot of the accolades because I'm out there chasing the people, so they're able to turn around and thank me right away.
Paul, you ready?
But I want to take this time to really thank Jonah, and I want to thank Corey, you know, for making all of that possible.
I'd like to thank you too, Jonah.
Seriously.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Right on.
Chase me.